I did a horrible job of balancing because everybody in my family had to take the back seat to 112. And I just felt like, wow, we're really doing it. And when you hear people talk about that it's addictive, I can tell you that it is. You can become addicted to the life. Fame, man, is one of those things where if you're not educated about it before, it really can ruin you. For years we had fought and bumped heads. Because one of the things in marriage that I didn't understand, you kind of have to lose some of yourself to become one with your spouse.
With Q, he'll say, it takes two, you both gotta work at it. I didn't want to work at it because I felt like I was betrayed.
What I tell you all the time, I got us in this,
And I'm gonna get it.
and I'm gonna get us out, and I ain't gonna quit. Join me, my wife, the journey, the Q Parker story.
I know there's been a lot of speculation about my retirement and what I plan on doing next. And you know, throughout my life, I faced many obstacles. The road has not always been clear. During those tough times, I felt alone. But I prayed and I asked God for strength. In my turmoil, God reached out to me and He revealed whatever I was going through was a part of my true destiny. It was at that moment I made a decision to stop getting in the way of God's plans, because my true story of my destination was my journey.
When you come into light, you look back and say, what was I thinking? Like, really, what was I thinking? And when you have the understanding of what your responsibility is as a man, if you're really true about yourself and transparent with yourself, it goes beyond you. So it went past what was I thinking. It went from that to, but what kind of man would take your wife through this? What type of man would take your family through this? So forget you. You got a woman, man, who vowed to love and honor you and do all these things, but you couldn't even fulfill your part of it.
Q Parker was at the top of his career, but not everyone was enjoying his level of success.
At this time in my career, we're talking anywhere at the top of the mountain. I'm talking about 112 mania everywhere. I did a horrible job of balancing because everybody in my family had to take the back seat to 112. And that's just kind of like one of the things that come with the industry. We look at it like firemen. I don't care what you're doing in that firehouse. When that bell ring, put your uniform on, slide down that pole, get in that truck, and go to work. When 112 bell rang, you got your behind up and you went. So imagine I missed weddings, funerals, graduations. I now later realized that my wife felt neglected sometimes. My daughter felt neglected sometimes. My mom and dad, my siblings, because they rarely saw me. And then when I did have the time, I was probably doing things that I wanted to do and not necessarily going to spend time with my mom or sitting with my mom and dad or just going over, especially being a guy who grew up in a close-knit family. You know, we'd get together and just laugh and joke for hours just because. But at this time, I'm not really doing a good job of balancing, and I could see the effects that had on my relationship with my parents, my wife, my friends. Yeah, man, they all had to take the back seat. And when I look back, it wasn't fair. Being a family guy, I didn't like being away from home, but I love being on the road. Because being on the road meant I got a chance to do what I love to do, which was singing. And I became addicted to the crowd. I loved to hear the screams. I loved to hear the fact that here I am on stage with my three guys, and these people are loving us. They know all of our songs. They know our music word for word. And I just felt like, wow, we're really doing it. And I can really say that I became a fan of the life. And when you hear people talk about that it's addictive, I can tell you that it is. You can become addicted to the life. and it becomes a regimen. It becomes what you do. And a part of what you do is hearing that crowd, seeing the response from the people, the chants, the "I'm your number one fan," or "I like Q more than the other guys," "I like Slim more than the other guys," and getting to do it all over the next day. It's their life. And before you realize, so nobody tells you going into this what to expect. You're just an unsigned artist. You become a signed artist. You produce a record. Now go on the road and support this record. But there is no, "Hey guys, before we go on this tour, I want y'all to keep your eyes open for this. Don't do this. Be careful about this. Watch out for this." It's none of that. It's be at the bus at 8 o'clock and we on a 45 city tour all summer. Be ready. Know your parts. Get out there and sing it. And don't mess your notes up. That's it.
As a young, successful artist, the trials of popularity and fame were quickly knocking on his door.
Fame, man, is one of those things where if you're not educated about it before, it really can ruin you. And it was weird because early on we would be at the top of the charts, but we still go home to the hood. So people would say, "Well, how you got like one of the hottest records on the radio, but I see you pulling up at the hood?" Or "How you got a BMW, but you still pulling up in the hood at your mama's house?" So trying to keep up with fame, had us, me personally, messing over a lot of money, ruining a lot of relationships, because at a young age, when you are not mature enough to handle the fame, you're big-headed, stop answering your phone, start to treat those that have been riding with you from the jump. All of a sudden, you ain't just calling them right back. You expect them to understand that, "Hey man, I'm just busy, man, I'm traveling." You'd expect them to say that before you even have to say it yourself. "What up, Q? What's going on, man? Man, I know you've been traveling. I know you've been, yeah, I've been traveling." You know what I'm saying? And you never even have to say it. And it really stretched and tarnished a lot of relationships simply because at a young age, it's just tough to handle all of the fame. And I guarantee you, if you talk to anybody that has had fame at a young age, we're not mentally prepared for that level of success and fame at that young age because we have not experienced anything. We don't really have any substance to us, and you don't have any weight. So anything that's not weighted, the wind blow hard enough, you're going whichever the way the wind blows. And because you're that way and that fragile, you're now harming and putting in harm's way everybody that's connected to you, friend, family, whoever it is. And then people are so easy to befriend you with malintentions and bad intentions. And if you don't have the covering or people around you to protect you and shield you from that, you will open yourself up and become vulnerable to a lot of the sharks that are out there and a lot of the people out there that are just planting the seed. Because one thing I realized, people will know things and won't tell you, and just lead you into the pitfall, lead you into the hole. And a lot of times I had to get myself out of holes because I trusted so easily without even doing the due diligence to even figure out their credibility, what type of relationships they had with people, what their reputation was. Somebody just come up, "What up, Q, man? I love your song, man. I love your music, man. I love 112. Y'all my dudes, man. Let me get your number, man." All right, cool. I never forget this one time I got jammed up really, really badly because I trusted. I was downtown Atlanta and walking through Little 5 Points. And this lady walked up to me and gave me this story about losing everything. I ended up giving her some money. And then we exchanged numbers. She called me again. I gave her some more money. And man, when I looked up, I was out like $3,000 just trying to be generous. And then one story turned into another story, to another story, to another story. But again, I'm 19 years old with a big heart, just want to do whatever I can to help people. And that was one of the earlier lessons of Q, open your eyes, man. Look at and assess situations for what they really are. My dad told me a long time ago, sometimes you gotta learn how to say no. And that was hard for me.
But it didn't stop Q from becoming a giver. Along with his wife, he started the Q Parker Legacy Foundation.
One of the things that I love about the layers of Q Parker is the philanthropic side. Because through my foundation, we're able to touch every aspect of family. From our summer camp with the children, Brothers United, which is the men's fellowship, Sisters United, the women's fellowship, Couples United, the marriage component. A Night with My Lady is an initiative that we do every year for couples only to come out, have a date night, get dressed up, put on the tux, get your lady a corsage, slow dance, recommit yourself, fall back in love. And then in December, we do caroling for the senior citizens. So we're able to touch every aspect of family. And for me, that's when my eyes light up, because to know that I'm using my influence and my platform to benefit others and to help others, that's really one of the things that energize me every day, because I know throughout the calendar year, the foundation is going to do some things that are going to make life a little bit better for those that are less fortunate. And I never forget, somebody saw something in me one day when I was a youngster and said, he's worth me investing into. Afforded me the opportunity to get out of the projects. So there's no way I can be in the position that I'm in and not give back to the community as well. And I take to my heart the power of influence. You know, I believe that my journey and my testimony and my story was done for me to be able to tell it, so that other guys or other people that will hear my story can be encouraged, motivated, because the story basically says, once you fall, you have a choice to stay down or get up, right? But it don't stop there. You make the choice to get up, then there are also choices even after you decide to get up. The next choice you have to make, the next decision you have to make is, how am I going to move forward? And it's simple, but it's hard, because all you got to do is just keep putting one foot in front of the other and committing to that process every day. And something so simple is really, really tough. But if you commit to it every day, you'll look back and say, wow, I covered all that ground. All right, well, let me keep going a little bit longer. Then a year goes by and you're like, whoa, I was there and now I'm here. Stay the course, man. 2 years, whoa. And that's basically how everything that my wife and I do, even not myself, that's how everything was created. Because prior to this, everything was about Q, selfish, immature, not understanding true manhood. And I had to learn this the hard way. You know, the 3 levels of a man: malehood, boyhood, and manhood. Malehood just says you got a gender. Boyhood, you owe me stuff. I'm God's gift to everybody. Serve me. Manhood is legacy, who you really are. It's about wealth building and generations, making sure that everybody, even those after you. And the sad thing is, a lot of men never reach manhood status. I know some 50-year-olds still walking around here in the boyhood stage. May never get there. So my crossroads slapped me right in my face. And I had to decide, are you gonna stay here, or are you gonna take the step to walking in true manhood and accepting the responsibility that God gave you from birth? Because as you go, everything that's connected to you, it's either gonna win with you or it's gonna lose with you. And for years, I took a lot of things with me and we lost. And I vowed, man, that I will commit, rededicated my life, got baptized again. You know, you see born again across my chest. It's a brand that I created because I'm proud of the fact that I had a rebirth, a spiritual rebirth. A lot of people say born again. No, it's not a physical rebirth, but a spiritual one, because I had to make a decision. And I never forget this at church. My wife, my son, and I were sitting at church, and the pastor does like this impromptu baptismal. You know, a lot of times they'll announce, next Sunday, who want to get baptized, come ready. But this Sunday he was like, just come. I don't care what you got on, just come. And it was just in the air. I looked at Shar, and without saying a word, we just got up. And that right there was day one of a brand new Q Parker.
Owning up to his actions, Q Parker uses his time to spread his message across to others.
One of the things I know about men, we don't talk, we internalize everything, and we walk around with all this weight on our shoulders as if life itself ain't enough. And a lot of the pressures that we have, we really could get rid of it just by vocalizing it and verbalizing it. But nobody understands what a man goes through like another brother. So I had to stand up there and say and confess, hey guys, I've done some things that I'm not proud of. You know, I have some transgressions. I've fallen at the risk of losing my family, losing my marriage, and all of that. But I committed to the process of rehabilitation. I vowed to not only myself, but to Christ and to my family that I would no longer be that guy who was leading you in the blind. And this is a time when I get really, really passionate about my story, because I understand the purpose that Q Parker. So when you ask me who is Q Parker is a purpose-driven leader. And that's leader of men, that's leader of family, that's leader of finances, that's leader of community. My wife told me this thing one time, man, and I never forget it. We were going through it one day. And I was like, see, that's your problem. You don't listen to me. You ain't submissive. You don't follow me. One line put me in my place. She said, if you give me something to follow, I ain't got no problem following you. I was like, ouch. And when I tell you that thing slapped me in my face, because I had to ask myself, what type of leader are you, dog? You can't be a leader cheating, lying, stealing, not being committed. And I had to ask myself the tough questions. Q, are you really giving 100%? And the day that I knew that I was ready to be something different, because I was able to tell on myself. I was able to look in the mirror and have the tough conversation. Who are you? Are you happy with this guy that you're looking at? And I wasn't. Because as much as I was trying to live the life, I always knew that there was a calling on me, and I was purposed to be greater than I was being, but I was running from it, taking the easy way out. But the day that I committed, it's a lifelong commitment that until the day I die, I will lead in the way that I was created to lead. I will show up every day. Not only will I show up, I'm gonna dominate when I get there. I'm gonna always present the best version of myself, because somebody is always watching me. And I'm not saying me personally, but somebody is always watching. And I can't afford for anybody to be watching me to see something that they aren't supposed to see that may discourage them. Because if I'm really my brother's keeper, I gotta be my brother's keeper through thick and thin. So even when I don't think they looking, somebody may have come to see me on the brink of giving up. And I can't have that on my conscience, knowing that somebody came looking for something from Q Parker and I didn't give it to him. I wasn't transparent in my delivery. I wasn't transparent in my walk, in my talk. I can't do that. I can't do that to my brother, because I need you to win. Because if I win and you win, 2 of us winning is powerful. 40 of us winning is powerful. 10,000 of us winning is powerful. 1 million plus global winning. If manhood wins on a global perspective, Doc, the whole world changes because we set the tone. And that's what I had to realize.
During our marriage, Q decided to share some things with me that I was unaware of or feeling some kind of way about, but just didn't, come out and say it. And I'm a very forceful person. I hated my husband for what he had did to his family. It was very hard for me to get back on track because I felt like you did me wrong. I didn't deserve that at all. So it took some time. And I'm not going to tell you it happened. He came back and sung a little song in my ear and it was okay. It didn't work. It did not work. We went through a period of trying to figure out whether this marriage was worth it, what we were going to do to make it work. And first of all, we just had to put God in the center of it. It was very hard. It took some time. I didn't want, how with Q, he'll say, it takes 2, you both got to work at it. I didn't want to work at it because I felt like I was betrayed. He stayed the course. He stayed on me. He would not let go. I ended up putting Q out. He didn't stop. Letters were coming, cards were coming, flowers were coming. And he just stayed in that lane, I'm not gonna let you go. I'm not gonna let this destroy my marriage. And we fought it through and worked it out.
One of the things that was a shift for me in the relationship was seeing my wife fight. For years we had fought and bumped heads. Because one of the things in marriage that I didn't understand is you kind of have to lose some of yourself to become one with your spouse and your partner. And there was part of me early in the relationship, in the marriage, that I wanted to still be Q Parker. I still wanted to be that guy. And we didn't have any rules of engagement. It was just come as you are, just whatever. It would just happen that way, and it would just be like a combustible happening. But in going through our worst time, I saw her fight because when she could have given up, and trust me, she could have given up many times, she stayed there. And as a mature man, I had to really dissect that. This woman really, really care about you, man. Get your stuff together, because you don't have to have this type of woman. You could have had a woman who just said, forget this, I ain't dealing with this, and been out the door. But the fact that she fought, and this is the part that, man, it makes me get choked up at times, because when I hear the word quit, she didn't quit on me. And the fact that she didn't quit on me is one of the reasons why we still here today. Because no matter how much I tried and how much I kept showing up, knocking on the door, if she had quit, none of that I wouldn't have made no grounds. But even in her worst parts of her being mad at me, angry at me, bitter, and all of that, she still showed up for me. She still stayed in the game. She ain't called no 20, no full timeout. She stayed in the game. And for that, I had to say, Q, just keep putting one foot in front of the other. You have to. This is what God gave you. This is the beautiful being that God gave you. She ain't quit. You can't quit. And I knew that. And at the time, I'm praying. I'm like on my face every day. I'm praying. I'm in the Word. And I'm starting to really understand the role of the man. Right? And as I go, we go. So she couldn't see me not have fight. Because again, if I'm the leader, they become what I am as the head. So I had to continue to show up every day, because even in the midst of turmoil and arguing, she was still watching to see how I was going to respond. So one day, if I don't show up and I quit, she could say, see, I knew he wasn't really down for it. I knew he was going to quit. I was not going to give her that opportunity. And I'm talking about, there were days she would say, don't call me no more. I don't like you. I can't stand you. This is done. And I would just have to take it on the chin and show back up. She'd say, don't come over here. I would just show up at the doorstep with a card, slide it up under the door. She'd say, we ain't married right now. I would just keep saying, I love you. Or I understand why you feel that way. But I always would tell her what I tell you all the time. I got us in this, and I'm gonna get us out, and I ain't gonna quit. And the reason why our story is so remarkable is we're a prime example that in a marriage, you're gonna go through it, the peaks and the valleys. How you respond is all the difference. And through Brothers United, through Sisters United, through Couples United, we have to stand up as a couple that have been through the fire to show that you can fall, but you gotta get back up. And once you get back up, you now have to operate in this new walk. And we have to walk in line with each other. And if you do that, you can now begin to live in your resolve. And the story now makes sense. Who goes to the movie to just see the bad parts and then walk out? No, you stay there to see the setup, the meat. How is this gonna resolve? Is it gonna be a happy ending, or is it gonna be the bad guy gonna win? The beauty about Charlinda and Q Parker is we're now living in the resolve. So when you tell the Q Parker and Charlinda Parker story, you're gonna get the meat, you're gonna get the turmoil and all that, but by the time you leave, you see what the hard work does. And I can tell you, when I look at this thing right here, this my girl right here, Doc. Yeah, this is my girl right here, man. Like, it's amazing, man.
On the next, The Journey with LaMarr Woodley.
I'm blessed to be able to be a writer. I grabbed that crowbar and I swung it. He's shocked, like, you hit me. And I said, yeah. And I said, either it's gonna be me or you.